To give some context beforehand, when my husband and I were building our new build, the house we currently own and reside in now, we had to stay with my in-laws. They were nice enough to ease that bit if a financial burden was on us while our house was being built. During the time there, my husband's sister, who's 22, was living there with her 2 kids and 1 baby on the way. Well, least to say I was hated living there, especially around her. She's messy, she's dirty, doesn't pick up after herself or her kids, doesn't clean around the home, doesn't even contribute to any of the household income, nothing. She's never had a job and doesn't even know how to drive. So, for obvious reasons, she does not have an income. Fast forward to my husband and I living in our new 5-bedroom home. His sister ended up moving in with her baby daddy. We thought we were doing fine until she came home crying to us, literally knocking at our doorstep in the middle of the night, saying baby daddy kicked her out because he's tired of her. I felt so bad for her, we let her stay at our place. I asked her what happened and she said he's done. So, her baby daddy and I aren't the closest, but I did ask him if everything was okay. Just because she has a tendency to lie sometimes. Baby daddy said he was tired of coming home to a dirty house, tired of coming home to eat fast food all the time, because she doesn't know how to cook, and to having their sons constantly sick because all they eat is ramen noodles and fast food. He's tired of it. He told me that he shouldn't have to work a 12-hour day and come home to a mess, nothing cooked, etc. Before she moved in with baby daddy, I encouraged my husband's sister to learn how to cook. That I could teach her, but she declined. It's been 2 months now since we let her stay at our house. Luckily, it's big enough, but she doesn't pull her weight around the home. I'm tired of waking up to screaming kids while I'm currently pregnant myself. I'm tired of seeing the living room a mess while she sleeps in late until 1 p.m. I'm tired of her freeloading off our stuff. I refuse to cook more than I have to. I let her figure it out for herself. My husband buys her food or fast food, but I told him not to do that. I told him it's not our responsibility or his to have to be providing for the babies either. The babies I will give snacks to. I'll make sure they're eating right, but it's still not my responsibility. I told my husband I was tired of it, and he said there was nothing he can do because that's his sister. I told him that she could go just live with either one of his parents, since they're divorced and they have 2 houses. She has plenty of options for family. But she says she doesn't want to be a handful for them because of the kids. Well, frankly, she's a handful to me. In one instance, there was a handful of dirty dishes that have been stacking up there for days while my husband and I worked our jobs. They were all from her and the babies. I was so mad. I washed them all, and she asked if I was nesting. Some of our family members came unexpectedly, and in front of them all, I said this: "No, I'm not nesting. I'm cleaning up the dirty dishes you've let yourself accumulate and not care to even wash." She gave me the dirtiest of dirty looks. I've told my husband to talk to her about leaving and she just won't leave. She just won't. I told him it's either me and the family he's decided to create with me or his sister. I told him that until she's out of the house, I'll be leaving. I won't be coming back. It's began to take such a toll on my marriage with my husband. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not even sure what to do anymore. How do I make her leave my home? How do I make my husband understand that I don't want her here? She's not my responsibility. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. There's 2 updates for this story. Before we hop into update number 1, Drop a comment down below and let me know what you think is going to happen. Is OP going to divorce her husband? Is the sister going to get kicked out? What in the world is going to happen in this update? Drop a comment and we'll talk about it, but let's get right into it right now. First of all, thank you for the advice and suggestions. I sat down with a lawyer and talked about if it's possible for the sister to be considered a tenant, and if so, can we charge rent? Well, luckily in my state, my sister-in-law is not considered a tenant, so I would not have to charge rent. I also wouldn't have to serve her with any type of tenant eviction, as there's no binding contract. Because of this, I've obtained a notarized letter that is allowing her 30 days to pick up her things and leave. I'm being courteous enough in giving her that much time. I've decided to do this before sitting down and speaking to my husband about the issue. After I obtained the notarized letter, I spoke with my husband. I told him how I felt about my home and how it looks like a mess. How I shouldn't be having to take care of his sister and children while being pregnant. And how she should be responsible enough to be able to take care of herself. We both agreed to sit down with her and talk. The next day, as we sat down and talked with her after we got home from running some errands, I let him talk. I let him tell her that she was no longer welcome. He told her the reasons: being a slob, not picking up after her children, not contributing to our household in any way, and making my pregnancy a living hell. I realized how it sort of pained him to have to tell her that, but if something she needed to know. While having the discussion, she retaliated and said she was being attacked and would not leave because she did not have anywhere to go. I told her she did. She could go to my in-laws, other family members, but inside my home to live in, she was no longer welcome. She made the most smart-butted comment, saying, quote, "You're going to toss me out in the middle of a pandemic?" I said yes I am. I told her she has people to go live with, that my home was not her new nesting ground, and that she shouldn't thought about that comment she made when her baby daddy kicked her out. I pulled out the eviction notice and told her 30 days to get her crap together, or else I'm going to be calling the cops to have her removed from my home. My husband wasn't too proud of it and was mad that I was actually serving her a notice. I told him right in front of my sister-in-law that if she doesn't leave in 30 days, I will. And he'll not be allowed to see me or the baby until she's gone. I told him I did not bust my behind working so she can enjoy the luxuries and commodities I've been working so hard to enjoy myself. She won't have her own room at my in-laws. Oh well. Go get a job and get an apartment. Can't keep baby daddy to stay with you because you can't seem to learn how to even cook or clean or have any basic sense of maintaining a household. Should have thought that before opening your legs and deciding to get pregnant again with a third child. All in all, she's been served with an eviction notice, and I've packed my bags in case she does not leave. I've taken pictures of my valuable items in my home and pictures of her current living situation. Dirty rooms, the mess she leaves laying around for days, the kids not being fed a proper meal, everything. My lawyer has recommended that if she does not leave and my husband decides to have her stay, he'd be responsible, then I should consider filing divorce. I set my foot down and listened to all of y'all. Thank you again for your comments and supportive advice. I'll keep you updated on the situation. Alright guys, Mr. Reddito here again. We're about to hop into the last update. So, do you guys think that it's going to end in divorce? Let me know in the comment section down below. Just type in the comments after update 1, I think a divorce is coming. And let's see what you guys think. Okay, here comes update number 2. I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting for the situation regarding my sister-in-law. Here's the last and final update on the situation. Soon after I gave her the notice, I got the cold shoulder from my sister-in-law and my husband for about a week or so. I absolutely hated to sleep beside my husband knowing he disliked what I did. Eventually, he came around and realized what this was doing to our family when, in an instance, he was working from his office and the babies were out in the living room screaming, crying nonstop. And she was in her room talking on the phone. That's when he saw and realized she was being neglectful, the rift this was causing in our family, and knew something needed to be done about it. During this time, that sister-in-law was not talking to me at all. She posted comments about me on social media and tried, in a way, to drag me for the decision I made regarding her living situation. Well, family members who were aware of it sent me screenshots and I kept it for court records. You know, if necessary, about what she was saying about me online. Calling me toxic and that I thought I was better than everyone else because I, quote, had everything. And that if it weren't for her brother, my husband, that I wouldn't have what I have now. Well, not that it matters, but I am very well set off with the business I decided to run 2 years ago. So, listen here, I don't need your brother's money, but nice try. I did gather some informational packages about childcare and where she could go and drop her kids off for free. It was some well-trusted places and so on, so she can get a job and attempt to make some progress, but she just threw them in the garbage. I tried. At around maybe day 25 after the notice, it's when she moved out. Her baby daddy ended up taking her back. I had the locks to my home changed and was able to restore some peace in the household. My husband's family had mixed feelings about this situation and how it was handled, but if no one else was going to show her some form of tough love or be responsible for their own blood acting like this, then I don't know who would have. It was so easy for some to judge when they weren't even willing to help her out at all. It really sucks that it went this far and that my husband only gets to see his nephews on occasion. But I guess better than my blood of family, right? If it were my Hispanic family members in this position, they would have been booted out of the household without hesitation until they figured their stuff out. That's just the kind of tough love I grew up with. Sounds a bit harsh, but definitely works. I don't know. I feel somewhat crappy, but I also would never take advantage of someone else's hospitality the way she did. I'm coming up very close to my due date, and the bigger I get, a little more unable to do much around the house. I'm just glad it's clean. Thank you all once again for riding in this journey with me, and if by any reasons there are any future updates, I'll let you know. Okay, the first thing I should state is that I greatly care for this girl, and can imagine myself having a future with her. I really enjoy being with her. We've been together for a little over a year, and I'm certain that she feels the same way. I should also note that we have, up until recently, never really had any major issues, fights in our relationships at all. For these reasons, we've been talking a lot lately about marriage, our future, even kids, and where we see ourselves over the next few years. However, while she feels we're ready to, quote, settle down, I want to wait a little longer so that we can enjoy our youth just for a few more years. This has caused some disagreement between us and did cause her to express concern over having to wait too long. But I thought this was nothing major and told her to wait just a few more years, 2 to 3. As for why I think she may be trying to get pregnant, all I can say is that her behavior has been strange over the last 2 months. First, I should note that over the course of our relationship, we both agreed that I would just use condoms, and then she told me she's now sometimes forgetting to take her birth control. This caught me by surprise, and I told her I was okay with continuing on things how they are, which seemed to upset her a bit. She didn't really get mad, but she just seemed upset a little and inconsistent with her pregnancy pills. At this point, I had no reason to believe her sincerity. At first, I thought this behavior was a little strange, but no big deal, right? However, I finally started to get a little suspicious when she started actively questioning what I would do if she got pregnant. And by actively questioning, I mean that she brought it up constantly. I told her that we would discuss that if it happened, and that we should consider all options in such situation. Well, this caused a fight between us where she ended up crying and saying that I did not care about her and that I was being selfish by refusing to discuss our future. Specifically state what I would do if she got pregnant. But we again talked things over and I apologized, although I'm still not sure what I did wrong. Things seemed to be getting better from there, but I did notice that she was, and still is, talking a lot about babies and children, especially considering that we have discussed children only a handful of times before these last 2 months. Specifically though, she has been talking them up, if you will. That is, she's been talking about, quote, how fun it would be to have a baby and how cute they are. And she also started saying repeatedly that I would make a great dad. My only response to this has been to remind her that I would love to have children, but just not right now. To which she was consistently responded by saying something like, sometimes fate has a different plan for us, and we have to be flexible. However, what finally led me to believe that she was purposely trying to get pregnant was when she started offering to buy my condoms. This was really unusual, as I've always bought them myself throughout our relationship and before that. When I asked her why the sudden urge to do this, she said that it was because it was convenient and something that all girlfriends do. I tried to press the issue further, but she ended the conversation by saying that she just wanted to take care of me. As of now, she hasn't bought any for me, and I have no proof that she could be poking holes in them, but I feel really uneasy. I don't want to hurt her by refusing to have sex with her, but I also don't want to have a baby right now. Even though I feel I shouldn't give in to her, because I want to badly trust her. I think I really would be devastated if I found out she's been tricking me just to get pregnant. Anyways, I'm being paranoid about my girlfriend trying to get preggo, or do I have cause to be concerned? Also, how should I proceed and confront her about my concerns? Hey guys, Mr. Reddito here. So this story's not over yet, and it does get way more intense. There's 2 more updates. But first, take a second right now to smash that like button and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think is about to happen with their relationship. I would love to see what you guys think before update 1. Okay, let's get right in it. Anyways, as I told you guys, I had a conversation with my girlfriend last night about some of her recent behavior, and also about the concerns that she's trying to get pregnant, the concerns I was having about these things in our relationship. It did not go very well, to say the least. I started off by telling her I felt like we've been having problems communicating lately, and maybe this had led us to have a misunderstanding about where we felt we were going. I then told her I felt like maybe in our conversations about our future together, I made her think that my unwillingness to settle down was a sign I was still looking around, or did not want to commit to her, when it really was just my belief that we should use this time to grow closer and work on our relationship. However, I let her know that I wanted to marry her and have a family with her, but that I just didn't feel ready for those things yet. I didn't want to be hostile, so I tried to reassure her of my commitment to her before, and then I confronted her about trying to possibly get pregnant in secret. This is the point where our conversation started going bad. I then questioned her about why she's been so concerned lately with babies. Was it because several people we know have just recently gotten pregnant or had babies? Or was there something else that's caused this development? She became defensive at first, saying, "All girls think about babies a lot." But I eventually got her to admit that these pregnancies had made her think more about having a child, and realize how badly she wanted one. I told her that I understand how powerful this urge was, but that I felt very strongly neither of us was ready to have a child, and that we should just wait. Which was where things got really bad. She said something like, quote, "We love each other, so would it be so terrible if we have a baby now since we plan to anyways?" I told her that the timing just wasn't right, and I was becoming increasingly concerned that maybe she wasn't trying as hard not to get pregnant, and brought up some of the reasons. I said that I talked about this with some other people, and that they, too, thought it seemed like she might almost be trying to get preggo. Here she started crying and said that I was being selfish and would not even consider having a baby now. She then said that she loved me and wanted my baby and felt like I was scared and had no legitimate reason for waiting. So she admitted she took matters into her own hands in order to give me the push I needed to marry her and start a family. This is the point in the conversation where she told me that I may not have a choice in waiting to have a baby. And then she said she was pregnant. I think she told me she was around 6 weeks, but I was so angry, hurt, and shocked that I don't remember. I asked her if she knew for sure, and she said that she's been on to her OBGYN to confirm it, and did not tell me because she wanted to see how I would react to the idea. I think at this point we both were in tears. I accused her of manipulating me and deceiving me, and she told me that this baby was the best thing for us. She then went to get the ultrasound photo or something and tried to show it to me, but I told her I need to think, which led to her hugging me and says, "What's done is done, and there's no point in me trying to fight it," as she was not going to get an abortion. I left after that and have not talked to her since. I don't know if there's anything I can do at this point, but if she has the baby, I will be the best dad I can be. As for our relationship, I can't imagine that I could ever be with her again, given that she broke my trust. I suppose the moral of the story is to always wear condoms, and never take for granted that a girl is using her birth control, no matter how much you trust her. Mr. Reddito here. Just when you thought this one was over, it's about to get nuclear. I have one more update we're about to hop in. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were blindsided by her pregnancy. When I read the story, I did not see it coming. Okay guys, here's the final update. I wanted to give another update, but also I would like to thank you all for the support and advice you've given me. It helped me gain a sense of direction and understand how to proceed after my confrontation with my ex the other night. Anyways, the next day, Wednesday, I decided I should first tell my parents and close friends what happened, in case she'd tried to slander me. Needless to say, they were all shocked and maybe a little hesitant to believe things were really as bad as I said. But they told me they would support me and help me any way they could. I'm glad I did this now because my stepfather was able to recommend an attorney to me, which I wound up contacting immediately. I was able to meet with him, the attorney, the same day, and informed him of the situation. He said the first step would be to find out if she was really pregnant, and then we would discuss more about custody and legal action once we were sure. We talked some more about me contacting her to tell that we were definitely over, and if I could confront her about the validity of the ultrasound and pregnancy. And he told me that would be fine, given that I did not get into any physical confrontation with her or do anything stupid. He also told me that I might had better take a witness along just in case she claimed I tried to assault her. After I finished up at my attorney's office, I went and got a couple of different pregnancy tests. Then I called up my ex. I told her I've been too hasty the other night. I was just too shocked and caught by surprise, and wanted her to forgive me for acting so childishly. I was a little conflicted about being so disingenuous, but I wasn't sure how she would respond after I've been ignoring her. I asked if I could come by and talk. She told me that she would really like that. I then called up a friend of mine and asked if he would come with me. So I picked him up and we drove over to her place. I asked him to give me a few minutes to talk to her about the ultrasound, and then I would come back to get him. I thought that maybe she would not let me look at the ultrasound or would tell me to leave if I seemed confrontational. Anyways, I talked to her for a few minutes and tried to seem contrite, and then I asked to see the ultrasound photo. She brought it to me and it did not have her name on it or any information. It was just a plain ultrasound photo. And I remembered some of you told me that it should have her name and info on it. I talked some about the photo and asked if the procedure was uncomfortable, and if they rubbed something on her stomach. She confirmed they did, which I also remembered was incorrect. After this, I confronted her and told her that she's been clearly lying to me about these inconsistencies. She said I did not know what I was talking about and that she forgave me and knew I would, quote, love being married and being a father. Once I stopped worrying, I told her I needed to get something from the car and I'd be right back. I returned with the pregnancy test and my friend and told her that if she really was pregnant, all she had to do was take these tests, and then we could go from there. She at first refused to do this and told me that I was being, quote, cruel to her and our baby. I told her I just wanted to make sure that she was pregnant, since there were so many things that just did not make sense. I then told her that unless she did this, we were over right here and there, and I would never ever see her again. She finally agreed to take one, and I insisted that she do it in front of me, like many of you suggested. We had another mini fight about this, and she accused me of not trusting her. Long story short, I finally got her to agree to this by repeating that I would not have anything to do with her unless she did this. I can't say I was, but at this point, surprised that the first test came back negative. She insisted this was an error, so I got another one of those tests and told her to try again. This caused another mini fight, and she only agreed after I repeated my threat to leave her. This test also came back negative, and she again tried to claim it's an error and a cheap test. I told her that she's been lying all along and that she was never pregnant. I told her that we're finished and that I never wanted her to contact me again, which caused her to beg me not to leave her. She promised me that she would change and that she would do whatever it took to get me back. She also said that it was my fault she had to be so deceitful because I was so scared of settling down and just kept wanting to wait. I was then informed by her that, quote, I did not understand how much a baby could bring joy to our lives. I told her that I loved her and tried to make her happy, and that she could have had me, and children, and a family, if she would have just waited. But I could not be with her ever again after the way she lied to me and treated me. I also told her that having a child is a huge responsibility, and that she needs to learn not to idolize it so. I left after that and have not talked to her since. I plan to talk to my lawyer about whether or not I need to get confirmation from a doctor that she's not pregnant, and if there's anything else I should do to protect myself. Once again, thank you all so much for the advice. I have certainly learned a lesson from all this, and I will never, ever again trust a girl when she says she's using birth control.